Okay, good morning and welcome to the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, April 30th. I am the County Board Chair, Sean Flowerday. With me is Vice Chair Rick Vess and Commissioners Matt Schulte and Roma Amundsen. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, please begin.
Do we need the motion?
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located at the wall of the rear of the hearing room. All written materials to be discussed at today's open meeting are available for electronic viewing from the county clerk's staff. Printing options are available upon request. These materials can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. I understand prior to the minutes we have a first motion.
Okay, just a moment, please. I would move to amend the agenda to include the following item on the agenda as item 4H, declaration number 24-0001. This is an item of emergency nature. The item arose so as to make it impossible to appear on the agenda at the time of the agenda's publication, and time is of the essence because the topic to be discussed is pressing on the county and cannot wait until the next scheduled Board of Commissioners meeting.
Second.
There is a motion and a second to amend the agenda to include emergency declaration number 24-0001 as item 4H. The agenda item is of an emergency nature. Please call the roll.
Vest?
Yes.
Amundsen?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 1, minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on April 23rd, 2024.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest?
Yes.
Amundsen?
Abstain.
Schulte?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-0 with an abstention. Item 2, claims. Item 2A, approval of the claims processed through April 30th, 2024.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Amundsen?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 2B, approval of a claim to El Centro de las Americas in the amount of $9,506.36.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundsen?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yes.
Vest?
Yes.
Flowerday?
Yes.
Motion carries. 2C, approval of a claim to Cedars Youth Services in the amount of $78,537.50.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest?
Yes.
Amundsen?
Yes.
Schulte?
Yep.
Flowerday?
Abstain.
Motion carries 3-0 with an abstention. Brings us to item 3, our consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner, by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there is an exception, these items are to be approved as one single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are the approval of A, amendments to the following county contracts, C-16-0010 with the Nebraska Secretary of State Records Management Division to provide microfilming imaging services, C-23-0456 with Blackstrap Incorporated for the annual supply of road salt, C-23-0323 with Heartland Document Services Incorporated doing business as the Office Cleaners to provide janitorial services for the City Department of Aging and County Veterans Service Office, Victory Park, C-21-0711 with Genuine Parts Company doing business as Napa Auto Parts for aftermarket vehicle parts and supplies, C-20-0140 with Thomson Reuters and the City of Lincoln for computerized legal research to Westlaw for county corrections, C-20-0341 with Whitehead Oil Company for the annual supply of motor fuel. C-11-0641 with Prudential Retirement Specimen Government 457B Plan Adoption Agreement with an effective date of May 1st, 2024. B, right-of-way contracts with the following. 1, Herbert H. Eilers Family Irrevocable Trust, Pella Road and South 54th Street, in the amount of $1,842.50. Wayne E. and Gloria Heitbrink Family Trust to Northwest 105th Street and West Waverly Road, in the amount of $1,952.50. And C, Utility Permit 2528, allowing Windstream, Nebraska to install fiber optic communication along West Denton Road, Southwest 70th Street, West Yankee Hill Road, and Southwest 56th Street.
Commissioners, I would request that item 3A7 with Prudential Retirement be removed for additional discussion.
Do we have a motion?
I would move that we remove it.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Yes.
Amundson, Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Commissioners, you can approve the rest of the consent items and we can discuss this.
Of the consent items.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the rest of the consent items. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners. Item 3A7 is an agreement with Prudential Retirement, or with Empower. It's using the Prudential Retirement Specimen Agreement because that is what our 457 plan already uses. There are some changes in this agreement in order to allow for the implementation of in-plan Roth conversion. We've talked about this in the retirement plan. The intention was to make this as available as possible to our members. There was an error in drafting, and a box was checked incorrectly on page 30 of the document. Previously, option 3 under 32C was checked. We have changed that to be option 1, which would be consistent with the other provision in 33B, which is also option 1. Due to those changes, we've asked to have this separately approved. Here's a copy for execution and the record.
So the motion should be to approve the amended copy, Dave. I would move that we approve the amended copy of
Second.
the Prudential Retirement Program.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the amended copy. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Commissioners, that brings us to new business, item 4A, a resolution in the matter of adopting a salary schedule for district court staff attorney.
Move approval.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion. If there's not a second,
I'll second it.
Okay.
Can someone help me though? Is this the thing that we sorry, I hadn't read this item, I guess.
I believe this is moving the district court staff attorneys to the equivalency of attorney 1.
Okay, so this
salaries.
is
I
what we
believe-
talked about at a staff meeting recently.
I believe this is that, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I would just say that, as I shared at the staff meeting when we were briefed on this, I have real reservations about this, the need for this, in that the case that was made to us was that the individuals involved have gotten to step 8 on the government pay increase level, meaning that they still get cost of living raises, but they won't get the additional step increases that they were getting for the last 8 years. While I understand that they would like to continue to have more step increases. I don't see the business reason for changing this designation from the staff attorney to attorney level 1. Their duties have not changed. This is something that certainly is appropriate for the judges to bring before us, but it's our responsibility as we begin the budget process today of looking at 30 different budgets to evaluate the business need when we make decisions. I don't see any appropriate business need here that will be changed. The fact that people can make more money at other entities is always going to be true. We see that all the way where talented people with options do leave. This won't resolve that. It'll only delay it. And so I am opposed to this change in attorney staffing level.
Any further discussion? Yeah, I'm pretty mixed on this one. I definitely see some of Commissioner Vest's arguments.
Yeah, and this but these decisions can't be made by who we like or who we dislike. It's certainly appropriate for the judges to come and bring this and put us before it. As I said, we're about to go through 30 budget hearings where people are going to advocate on behalf of their employees, which is understandable. But our responsibility as commissioners is to put these 30 budgets together to make a coherent bill that we send to the taxpayers. I don't think this one meets the need criteria. That's where I'm at, and with no disrespect to the work being done there.
I tend to agree with you. I think I'm going to support this motion because fundamentally it'd be inconsistent of me to not to, given what I indicated in the last meeting, but it's it's not that I don't understand the arguments. So
I definitely am going to support this. I guess I see a couple of different things. One is puts two jobs with similar requirements to apply. My understanding is that you both have to be an attorney for for similar jobs, and one is significantly, it has a very different pay scale. And so I like the idea of putting in alignment and having one pay scale rather than multiple pay scales for people in similar positions. And I don't think the cost was that much. I believe it was only a $9,000 difference.
I actually think it was less than that.
Was it even? Because I know we looked at a few different options there, and I was trying to pull up and see the exact dollar amount.
My memory says it was about 4,000.
Is that per position?
I believe that was for the total for the two people in it.
That was my recollection too. It's
So
4,000 this year. I mean, I'm not saying there won't be further
Correct. Yeah,
increases.
that's a good.
Actually, and I will support this motion too. And the reason that I will is I do believe that it's absolutely essential that we can attract high-quality people and to retain them. And salary is a very important aspect of retention.
I'm just going to caveat that, Commissioner, with the fact that this is not a position that experiences high level of turnover or the inability to fill it like we've seen at the crisis center. This is just simply a convenience. I like convenience too. Again, I'm not unhappy with anybody advocating, but these are people that have been here a long time and they can make more money elsewhere. So
I think one point you do make, Rick, which I do very much agree with and support, is that when directors come to us and they say, well, they've hit the top of their step, we need to increase the steps, or I need to move them up, like that doesn't mean they're not getting a increase.
Right.
And I think that's
right.
an argument we have heard from other departments before, and it's an argument that seems a little shallow to me because they still get an increase. They just have reached,
Yeah,
They aren't getting the double increase
Correct.
of having a step and a COLA. They aren't getting both. And if you were to look at the ranks of Lancaster County employees, how many hundreds of employees do you think we have at step 8?
Yeah. I did just pull the numbers up. Sean, Commissioner Flowerday, you were right. The cost of this, based on the two current employees that it will affect, is $4,688. I recognize it's not nothing. It's also not, there was two other options that had a much more significant cost that were presented to us as well. So I think you make a good point, Rick, especially on the top of the step thing.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes, or no. No.
See what you did there.
You guys are so good. For the reasons I've stated, I vote no.
thank you. Commissioner Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 3-1. Brings us to item 4B, a resolution in the matter of vacating a portion of Branched Oak Road between North 27th Street and North 40th Street, located in Lancaster County, Nebraska.
I thought of Mr. and Mrs. Tegmeyer every time I heard the rain pounding down this past week, and I move that we approve this resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 4C, agreement with Coubert Appraisal Group to provide professional appraisal services for federal aid improvement project related to Saltillo Road. The cost of the county shall not exceed $101,900, of which $81,520 may be reimbursed through the state.
Morning, Larry Legg with the Lancaster County Engineering Office. As I said, these are to start the appraisal process or the right-of-way acquisition process for the Saltillo Road Safety Project. This is the first step. We have to get the appraisals, then we have to have the appraisals reviewed, and then we'll have an acquisition contract to go out and actually start buying the right-of-way for this project. In between, of course, Nebraska Department of Transportation will need to review everything and give approval before we can take the next step. Any questions?
I move approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. I have a note, Commissioners, from engineering to skip over item 4D, so I'll move on to item 4E. A rental application from the Hickman Community Center, 115 Locust Street, Hickman, Nebraska, for county engineering to hold an open house event on May 9th, 2024.
Morning again, Larry Legg with Lancaster County Engineering. This is for the South 68th Street widening project from Firth to Stagecoach. This is, we have preliminary plans done. This is information open house that we're going to be holding on, I believe, May 9th, if my memory serves correctly. And this is the rental agreement with the Hickman Civic Center, and that's where we plan on holding the event.
Move approval.
Second. I received notification to invite to this event a couple different ways. So I appreciate that. Can you is it just information about the road that'll be, or is it timeline?
It really is. We'll have an aerial mosaic or a picture laid out with the approximate limits of construction and the design features showing where we'd have turn lanes, there are a couple of road shifts that we're doing, and then we'll have a set of plans and displays talking about the process. The approximate timeline will be in that also. It's laid out and should have been possibly laid out if you got a mailer that went along with it. Look on our website. There's a real cool link in there. You can take a look at some of the stuff that we've got and some of the materials will be there. The design staff, the environmental consultant will be there to answer questions on how this project will progress.
Great. Do we have a motion?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. Brings us to item 4F, Memorandum of Understanding with Targeted Adult Services Coordinators task on behalf of County Corrections for carrying out activities of the STARS initiative.
Move approval.
Motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on up. You're good.
Please.
Just real quick, we have a motion, though,
Second.
and a second. There we go. Perfect. Please.
Okay, sorry. I thought it would be later on the agenda, so.
Good.
So we are working on our reentry services for the jail. And we have developed an initiative that we want to go forward with, and we are applying for a grant that is actually due today. Task is willing to provide us community support personnel without additional requests for funding from the county or any other agency, so that they will provide for 3 months of supervision within the community. So we have developed, and I did bring in just a little picture so you guys can see what our STARS initiative is. So it's successful transitions and reentry support. And we will focus on 5 areas, which is mental and physical health, housing and food security, workforce development, financial education, and substance abuse support. So the MOU is so that we can include it in the grant for support on that community 3-month post reentry service. So
Well, those are all 5 really important areas.
absolutely, we kind of developed the stars because we want the person to be the star of their success. So that's kind of where we developed it from. So.
And, you know, it is a grant program, so this is super.
Yeah, so basically in the grant, we're trying to ask for just staff so that the county doesn't have to take on all of those expenses on what we are requesting to develop such a program, so.
Move approval.
We have, yeah,
We already
no.
have it.
This is just a kind of a continuation of the helping people take responsibility for their actions and lives that's going on at our jail. A lot of folks probably don't realize there are drug rehab programs and there are graduations on a monthly basis of inmates who are taking a real deep dive into what their life looks like and what they want it to look like. And so this is just a real good step following up with that work.
Yeah. My work in family support, I've had experience to deal with tasks before, and they're just excellent. I'm really excited about this.
Great, great, we are too, so.
Great.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you so
for
much.
being here.
Brings us to item 4G, a service agreement with the Board of Regents of the University of Nebraska for the University Public Policy Center to conduct an evaluation of Lancaster County's adult drug court program. Total cost of the county is $187,500.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeff Kilpatrick with Community Corrections. This contract is an extension of the previous contract that we had with the UNL Public Policy that was under the old grant. This is funded under the new drug court grant. Dr. Stacy Hoffman will be doing the work again on this project. She will also be making a presentation on Friday morning if anybody wants to be at the Justice Council meeting at 7:30. And if you don't want to be at the meeting, I'm happy to email you a copy of her report.
Deeply appreciate these ongoing efforts at evaluating the effectiveness. We know that when programs like this are effective, they save taxpayers a lot of dollars over the course of years.
And the report identifies areas that we need to focus on improving our programs.
Which is something that is an ongoing process,
Right.
isn't it, yeah. Thank you for doing this. I move approval.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thanks.
Commissioners, that brings us to item 4H, which was the emergency declaration added at the beginning of the meeting.
Good morning. Jim David Saber, Director, Lincoln, Lancaster County Emergency Management. As the severe weather event unfolded last Friday mid-afternoon through early evening, the preliminary damage assessments we received led us to believe that we may meet our threshold. In meeting that threshold, it only focuses on public property and critical infrastructure. And it's a formula that is based on the county's population. So the large population base in Lancaster County takes that threshold to a little north of $1.4 million. I confirmed that with NEMA's recovery section administrator just yesterday. We received a report of damage to a Lincoln water facility at 98th and Alvo Road and Lincoln Electric System is still assessing the damage it sustained to its transmission line just north of 84th and Havelock. So we put the disaster declaration on file with NEMA late in the day on Friday, and now it's just a question of following up with those estimates to see if we meet that minimum threshold. We have 30 days in order to follow up on that. So at this point, it's just kind of an open-ended. NEMA has confirmed that they have our declaration on file and are just waiting for those updates from me.
And this is just related to damage to public property, you were saying?
And critical infrastructure, yes, sir.
Okay. Just kind of reviewing Friday's events, it seemed to me that the Emergency Management Center came together very quickly. Friday afternoon, you guys were up and at it. Do you recall?
Correct. Based on the weather forecast, it was one of those scenarios where it wasn't a question of if we should activate, it was when. And I'd actually sent out a note earlier in the day that we planned on activating at 3 o'clock that afternoon until they issued the first tornado warning shortly after 1:30. So we were there. My staff was on scene. Those emergency support function representatives who report to the EOC, they had been given that prior notice, and then I followed up that it was time to report for active duty.
Yeah. Appreciated that, and the information that was being shared was incredible, and the coordination that and I know we're deviating a little bit, this is all on me, but the coordination that results from having you folks all together there really helps people out who are in a pinch. For example, 70 people who are trapped at work with a facility that's come down.
Yep.
Helping them get out, get to an area where we can ensure that everybody's safe.
And that's one of the other documents that I have to file with NEMA. They refer to it as the Lifelines Report. And you look at all those things pertaining to public safety, things along those lines, and they use a color-coded scheme. Green is stable, and then it moves through various stages of instability. So I defer to the subject matter experts that are in the Emergency Operations Center with me, those first responders, public safety, law enforcement, emergency medical, fire. They were evaluating their current status, the need, and what we needed to do about it, and we remained green in all categories, meaning we had the resources we needed. We didn't have to reach outside of Lincoln or Lancaster County to request additional assistance.
Great work. Thank you, Jim. And I would move approval of item H and recommend that our friends in the TV news do a documentary on how this all played out.
Our deepest thanks to your staff and to all the first responders and every volunteer who's been helping to clean up and respond to this, what's happened to our community and the other
And that's certainly my
communities in Eastern
takeaway.
Nebraska.
Every time we have a situation like this, we have a good plan in place. We anticipate these things, and when that bell rings and it's time for everybody to go to work, it's very rewarding to see that it's not an us versus them, it's what do we need to do about it. And so I think everybody involved certainly met the challenge that afternoon.
Yeah, we've had a great team. Thank you. Thank you for all your work.
I'll second it and make a personal note that my wife saw 3 tornadoes driving back from Omaha on Friday, and including the big one and 2 small ones. And she came home to a jealous husband who would love to see one sometime. I'm glad that she was home safe.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Schulte,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. Commissioners, that brings us to item 5, public comment. Those wishing to speak on items related to county business not on the agenda may do so at this time.
I sent the following to our our Secretary of State's office yesterday. I started with the following quote from a particular researcher. There are 2 electronic folders inside our secret vote tabulating software that electronic ballot images can be placed into. Votes are counted from those digital images, not from the paper ballots. Once converted to digital ones and zeros, it is very easy to change votes and hence the results of an election. End quote. I went on to state the following simple facts. Vote counting is a 3rd grade process of addition. A 3rd grade process of addition. Software that is written to read ballot timing marks and voter selection marks and perform simple addition on those voter selection marks is not sophisticated software. Anyone who calls it proprietary is a snake oil salesman. In other words, someone who is engaging in deceptive marketing or psychological manipulation or gaslighting. There is only one reason to shroud tabulator software and hardware in secrecy, and that is to rig elections. There is only one reason for preventing voters from accessing all ballots so they can verify the results of their election, and that is to protect a rigged election. Rigged election. Every computerized tabulator has a back door. Rigging elections is treason. The odds are very high that we will see a nationwide, irrefutable expose on the secret, fraudulent process that you all call elections, quote unquote, before this year is up. The misinformation, disinformation, malinformation campaign of our Secretary of State's office will not survive it. End of my letter. Our second president, John Adams, said, "There is danger from all men. The only maxim of a free government ought to be to trust no man, living with power to endanger the public liberty." It's very similar to the maxim engraved over the main entrance of our state capitol. The salvation of the state is watchfulness in the citizen. Watchfulness, not trust. As you all well know, vote tabulation has been taken away from the people and placed in the hands of a private and very secretive corporation. The members of this Lancaster County Board say absolutely nothing whatsoever about that secrecy or the complete deprivation of the right of citizens to exercise watchfulness in our vote counts. Do any of you have any idea what you are protecting by protecting secret so-called elections? I'm sure you do. But for the benefit of everyone else, let me answer the rhetorical question. You're protecting all manner of evil, vile activity, that not the least of which is child sex trafficking, which includes massive money laundering. The last thing I'll say today is this. The reason that I don't come in here to say the Pledge of Allegiance with all of you is because I don't believe you mean it when you say liberty and justice for all. Good day.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
My name's Rick Hill. I went to the Lancaster County Republican Conference, the 8th of this month, as a delegate, okay? So I wrote a letter, and I handed this out to 330 delegates, of which Fanchen Baleo, which is our national committee woman, started taking it because they wanted to silence my speech. So I thought I'd come down here and read it for those delegates that didn't get a chance to read it. Dear delegate, our nation, state, and counties have been taken over by enemies of the people, foreign and domestic. There's only one way to return control over to the people. Have elections that are honest, and the people running are us, the people. Not self-serving, controlled rhinos that think they're God's gift. That pretty much describes everyone currently in some office of the government, from the president down to the mayor and county commissioner. Notice I did not capitalize those positions, neither should you. I am sick to my stomach of what this nation has intentionally become because of Epstein Island and all the pedophilia, once again from the president down to the mayor and county commissioner. The videotapes of the felonies they willfully commit control these sick bastards. This includes both sexes, Bill and Hillary. We have to fix Lincoln and Lancaster County before we can honestly even think about D.C. There's more porn and grooming in the Lincoln school libraries than in a porn shop. The mayor was never reelected. The chair of the county commissioner wasn't either. We have been played as fools by the little black box from hell that our evil and corrupt Republican Secretary of State Evan deploys on the people every election, which is a total charade. The two most powerful positions on the ballot were filled by criminals that need to be in prison for treason for overthrowing the United States of America. That U on United has to be small case, or you're referring to the criminal racketeering corporation deceiving the people and giving a third of their income so they can have enough money to fund war against you, your children, and rest of the people. None of you are legally liable to pay federal income tax. 98% of all Americans legally do not have to pay income tax. I haven't since 2011. Watch this video if you want to freeze the link. Need help? This was all started by Fanchen Slate Card. What in God's name are you telling us who to vote for? Isn't that little black box from election system software in which I will be filing a lawsuit for fraud and corruption that goes all the way to murder in the first degree for an intentionally releasing a bioweapon on the American people and world? Shame on you. I want no time on whatever or whoever wants to run for these elected positions. I want to hear from them, not you. This is how the oligarchs control and change a culture right under your nose. Be vigilant as a roaring lion, for we deal with a uniparty, the devil. Republicans are the problem. They are controlled by the same oligarchs that control the Democrats. They get you on video doing the unholy, and now you're owned. So that's the little story of what's going on with our little black box and what you believe is honest and fair elections. We've come before you many times to get the word out because the people are too comfortable being asleep at the wheel. Can't have that anymore. We have to all collectively wake up. Otherwise, you're going to be standing on communist ground. Thank you.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Hearing none. Mr. Clerk, please proceed.
Item 6, announcements. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting, including budget hearings, on Thursday, May 2nd at 8:30 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting on Tuesday, May 7th 2024 at 9 a.m. with the Board of Equalization immediately following in room 112 of the County City Building. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on LNK TV. LNK TV is available on Allo Channel 2 and Spectrum Channel 1300. For the rebroadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook. LNK TV apps are available in Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Item 7 is adjournment.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Schulte,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries. We are adjourned.
I gotta make